Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be drawing Kageyama versus Oikawa, which, if you don't know, they are characters from Haikyuu, which you have definitely heard about if you're familiar within the anime / manga culture. Then you've definitely heard about Haikyuu because I believe it's one of the highest rating manga and anime, so you must have heard about it. At the end of my speed paints, I normally talk about what I've been up to lately and, my current art projects and stuff like that. And if you've been watching my last few videos, then I'm pretty sure I must have mentioned a few times that I was currently watching Haikyuu. I was watching it with my sister. We watched like 2 to 3 episodes every night. So I am now caught up because the final season, or not the final, but the latest season is airing right now. So I haven't seen the very latest episode, but I have seen everything up until that point. So I'm finally caught up. I can finally talk about Haikyuu and finally make some fan art. I mean, I have already drawn Hinata before, but it didn't quite feel right because I hadn't seen anything about Haikyuu at the time that I drew that, so I couldn't really incorporate his personality and stuff like that much, so. But I could now with this drawing. So yeah, I'll just, before I start talking about Haikyuu and about these two characters, I just have a few things that I want to mention about this drawing. First of all, I accidentally made Kageyama's hair a little bit too, I don't know, crazy. After I color in the hair, I normally add a few extra strands to make it look more realistic, but Kageyama's hair is actually really flat, really straight. So when I went in with the extra strands, it ended up looking a little bit too messy, so that's a little mistake. The second one is that I have no clue how to draw muscles, so I wanted to draw them with like somewhat muscular arms because I mean they play volleyball, they've got to have a little bit of muscles there, especially characters like Oikawa and Kageyama who train very hard and have trained very hard for many years. I would expect them to have somewhat definition in their arms. But yeah, so they look kind of wonky now. And also, I forgot to record when I was coloring in Oikawa's shirt and his skin, so yeah, that's not a part of this video, sadly, but I mean, use your imagination, I guess. So I guess, first of all, I'll start talking about what Haikyuu is about. For those of you who haven't seen Haikyuu and are here, I don't know why else you would be here, but just in case. If you haven't already, or in case you didn't already know, Haikyuu is a show or manga about this volleyball team. The main character is Hinata, who you have definitely seen before, and I can't quite remember, but I guess he dreams of being a part of this volleyball team and, being a good volleyball player and getting, being on a team that gets to nationals and, wins. But I guess his, junior high school didn't have a very good team, and he's very short, which is obviously not a very good thing when you're playing volleyball. And he's just not very good at volleyball. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of training. He hasn't had the kind of training that someone like Kageyama has had throughout his life. So he's not a very experienced player. In the first episode, I mean, that's the first time he's ever actually played a match. So he's not very experienced, he's not very good, but there is one thing that makes him stand out, and that's the fact that he can jump very high, which is obviously a big bonus when you're playing volleyball, and that kind of makes up for his short height. And at the very start of the show, you see Hinata and his junior high team play against Kageyama and his junior high team, and that's where Hinata and Kageyama's rivalry begin. And blah blah blah, I won't say any more about that, but I guess it's later on in that same episode, a little time skip to when Hinata and Kageyama start high school, and they ended up applying to the, you know, the same high school, to the same volleyball team, and, you know, there's a bit of a rivalry going on. They're sort of like enemies at the very start, so that, yeah. So that's kind of interesting. And one more thing you need to know about the show is that the team that Kageyama and Hinata join, Karasuno, they were once like a really good team. I can't remember what they call those teams, like power teams or power schools or something, but I don't know what happened, but that team kind of fell and crashed. So, you know, they've gotten a bad reputation. I mean, I think their new nicknames are now like the Fallen Crows or the Flightless Crows or something like that, because they're just not a very good team anymore. They used to be very good, but, you know, not anymore. And yeah, so they're just trying to make it to nationals, I guess. And I think that's part of what makes this show so interesting, is that this team is like at the bottom of the bottom, because they've just sunk that low and they've got this horrible reputation, and, you know, they're just trying to make it, you know, to nationals. So yeah, they're trying their best to improve, and they're training really hard and working together, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. So Kageyama is the guy to the left here, the guy with black hair, and they call him, or he kind of got the nickname the King of the Court. And at first, you know, that sounds like a good thing. He wouldn't want to be called the king, you know? But it's not actually a positive nickname. It's he got that nickname because he was, I don't know, kind of a dictator on the court. I don't know, he's pretty much always been so much better than everyone else at volleyball, and he's taken it very seriously, and he's trained extremely hard. And other people can't really, you know, meet his standards, and he's not afraid to let them know. He's not afraid to get angry, and yeah, he's not a very good teammate. He's a bit of an ass. And so they started calling him the King of the Court. And, you know, one day he was gonna, you know, set the ball to someone else, and there was just no one behind him. No one would, you know, catch the ball because they're just sick of him. They're sick of him being such a dictator, not being a very good teammate. So yeah, he's not very good with other people, which kind of sucks when you're playing, you know, a team sport. So it's kind of interesting seeing him get better and actually get close with his teammates in Karasuno. So that's definitely interesting. And of course, his rivalry with Hinata is everything. I love it so much. The relationship is so cute. And then there's Oikawa, the guy to the right, who is called the Great King. I can't remember exactly why, but basically he's even better than Kageyama, and Kageyama's like this volleyball genius, and then you see Oikawa, who's even better. And I think they were actually on the same junior high team, so these two already know each other. And yeah, I think Oikawa is really interesting because I don't know how to describe it. It's like he's a good character that's not quite good, you know? I don't know how to explain it, but I love him. He's one of my favorite characters. And I think one of the reasons why I like Oikawa so much is because when I first started watching Haikyuu, I mean, you know, the start is kind of slow because, you know, not all the characters are in there yet. You pretty much only see Kageyama and Hinata at the beginning, and I don't know. It goes very slow. It's not a lot of, like, actual, like, volleyball playing at the very beginning. So I don't know, I had heard such good things about Haikyuu, and I just couldn't see it at the start. And I don't think it was until the second half of the first season where I was like, okay, I see it. It's pretty good. And at the second half of the first season, you know, that's when they're fighting against Oikawa's team. So that's kind of when my love for Haikyuu started, like, developing inside me. So that's also why the second opening is my favorite opening out of all the openings, because it just brings back such good memories, and because you see Oikawa in the opening and all that. So yeah, that's when I saw the potential in Haikyuu, and that's when I understood the hype. When I had reached the end of the first season, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, that's pretty cool. They made volleyball exciting. Wow. And I believe that Haikyuu is good for a number of reasons. I think the first one, at least in my opinion, is, well, the characters. Because they have really, like, fleshed out characters. They spend a lot of time, you know, introducing the characters to us and letting us understand, you know, why they are the way that they are, what made them like that. And, I don't know, they just do a very good job at making interesting characters and relatable characters, and just, you know, just really good characters with a lot of character development, and especially, like, with Hinata, when we get to see him grow, because, I mean, he really is not very good at volleyball at the start, and we see him, like, slowly improve, and I don't know, there's just, the characters are just really good, and not just the characters by themselves, but the characters together. Like, there's just something about seeing, like, the friendships and then the bonds that are made through, you know, their love of this sport, and, you know, just this team working together, and not just this team. I mean, we get introduced to, oh my gosh, I stuttered. We get introduced to so many other teams, and they're all equally interesting, and when we get to, you know, get introduced with those team members as well, I guess. So, like, yeah, it's just a lot of characters, and they're all very good characters, and they're all very interesting, and yeah, watching them, like, interact with each other is so fun. And yeah, I think that is the best part about Haikyuu. But I do want to talk about a few moments that made me really love Haikyuu. I guess you could call them spoilers. So, well, a few are pretty bad spoilers. So, yeah, skip to this timestamp that you see on the screen right now if you don't want to hear them. So, they're not manga spoilers or anything. I don't know anything about the manga. This is just spoilers from the anime. So, yeah, these are the moments that made me love Haikyuu. The first one that came to mind was this one moment with Tsukushima. I can't remember exactly how it went, and I can't remember when it happened either, but at least I believe it was the second season, actually. But when we first see him, I don't know, I want to call him chill. He doesn't look like he really cares about anything, which is kind of weird, because you have everyone else on this volleyball team who, you know, they're all so passionate about volleyball, and then he comes along and he doesn't look like he really cares. And he doesn't really care, and he doesn't understand how, you know, volleyball affects them so much, I guess. And I believe he was talking with Bokuto, I think. And then Bokuto said something like, I can't remember exactly how it went, but, like, telling him that once you fall in love with volleyball, you'll know, or something. He just needs that one moment. And then a little later on, he's on the court, he's playing against, I don't even remember who, but he's playing against someone. And I can't even remember what happened, but, you know, he's a blocker, so he blocked a hit. And I guess there was something amazing about that. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm sorry. And I don't know, I guess it was this amazing moment. No one thought anyone was gonna be able to block that, and he did. And it was like this super powerful opponent as well. And then it's just kind of like silent for a moment. And then he just kind of like screams, yeah, and then he puts his hand up. And, you know, that's when we know that was the moment when he fell in love with volleyball. And I don't know, there was just something so powerful about watching that moment. I mean, I got shivers from watching that. Oh, that was so great. We got to watch the moment when he fell in love with volleyball. Another moment, and I think this is actually my favorite moment in all of Haikyuu, I can't remember who they were fighting against, but I think it was when they were fighting with, why do I keep saying fighting? They were playing against, I believe it was, what's his name? Ushijima and them. You know, the purple team. And at least I think this is when. And Karasuno, you know, they won. They made it to nationals. And, you know, this was the third year's last chance to make it to nationals. So, and they've never been there. I mean, the 2 other years that they have played on that team, I mean, they've sucked. So they never really came far at all. And of course they all dreamt of making it to nationals, but they never believed that they actually could. And, you know, they actually did make it. And then watching those 3 third years just cry and hug, oh my god, that did something to me. Like, I think I cried a little bit to that part. And especially because Daichi had gotten that, like, good luck charm from that one girl. And as they were all, like, bowing to the, what's it called? The audience, I guess? The people, you know, that was watching. And he holds up the lucky charm. Oh my gosh. Or the good luck charm. Oh, I felt so many things that day. I don't know, it was just watching them all just cry and hug. Oh my god, that did something to me. And then the last moment that I think of is in the last season. Oh no, actually I think of 2 moments. In the last season, the one that's airing right now. And they're fighting against, I can't remember the name of the team, but Atsumu was who they were fighting against in his team. And I believe it was right as the game started. You know, they have like this entire like marching band or something that's there to support them, and they're playing extremely loud music, probably to, you know, not only show their support for their team, but to throw off the other team and, you know, intimidate them and all that. But just listening to, like, sort of, I guess it's sort of like their theme song while they play. And you see Atsumu, he's about to serve, and, you know, you hear the music, and he just slowly raises his hand, and then he makes that one hand gesture, like a quick hand gesture, and it just stops. It's just immediate silence. I don't know. It's just, imagine having that much power. I don't know, that gave me shivers. I was like, ooh, can I see this again? Okay, and then, one more moment that really made me emotional was, is his name Kita? I think his name is Kita. In one of the latest episodes, I guess we got to see Kita's, like, backstory, sort of, and, well, if you've seen the episode, then you know that I believe he's a 3rd year, and he's never really been on the team. He hasn't even gotten, like, his own, like, shirt, you know, that shows that he's on the team. He's just kind of there, but he's doing all the, I don't know how to explain it, all the work that no one else wants to do, but he does it, you know, without getting, you know, without being asked to do it, without getting anything out of it. He just does it, and he's, like, the best teammate, because he's always so supportive. I mean, he doesn't get anything out of it, but he still does it. And then we see the coach or whatever calls him up, and he finally gets, you know, the shirt that shows he's actually, you know, a teammate. And not only that, but he then got the title of team captain. And before that, he hadn't even really been on the team, and all of a sudden he's the captain of the team. And he just kind of grabs it. He doesn't really say anything. You don't really see anything, like, any emotions, you know, on his face. And he just goes back, he just sits down, and he just stares down at the shirt that he's holding. And then we get to see his face, and he's just kind of looking at it. And then he cries, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. I wanted to cry with him. What a sweetheart. He deserved it. He deserves the best. Okay, the spoilers are over now. So those were the moments that made me really love Haikyuu. Like, at those moments, I was thinking, like, I really do love this. And, yeah. But I can't make this video without talking about my favorite characters. my absolute favorite character. You probably wouldn't expect this, but it's Yamaguchi. I feel like no one talks about him. He's such an angel. He deserves the best. My little angel. I love him so much. I do really like Suga, and I love Kuro. He's a big dork. And I mean, what would Kenma do without him? Oh, and then I really love Kenma. Oikawa, I do really like Oikawa. Bokuto and Akashi, I love everyone, but those are like my absolute top favorites. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.